do. I don't think anybody that plays this game at any level, whether it's week 1 or week 16, feels 100%. So, no, I would say that I don't feel 100%, but I'm not consistent enough. It affects the offense because the ball's in my hand every play.
I'm just pissed off. We just lost a damn game, and I think that's the way our team feels. We're not feeling sorry for ourselves, but we gotta get the job done.
It's just been everything for Pittsburgh, including the offense. Take a look at this. They're among the worst in the league in their last 3 weeks, converting just over a quarter of their third downs during that span. That is the worst percentage in the league. They ran it a little last night, which by their standards lately has been good, but generally speaking, just a disaster. And Jeff Saturday, I want to start with you. How do we explain what we are seeing, what was supposed to be a get-right game for the Steelers last night? Instead, feels like a complete disaster. What are we seeing, Jeff Saturday?
Yeah, absolute panic in Pittsburgh. And if you're not watching film. I mean, this team lacks physicality, so they're asking Ben Roethlisberger to throw the ball in on average 44 times a game over the last 4 games. And let me show you what the true problem is with that and why Ben struggled so much last night. Because what you're asked to get a little bunch formation on the left. You have Claypool, who's going to go deep. You have Juju Smith-Schuster, who, by the way, is very near the logo that he was dancing on. Von Bell, no credit to Claypool behind him. He's coming downhill. Bam! Full-on chin music to Juju Smith-Schuster. Why? Because they're not playing the deep ball. Here you're going to have 2 clear outs and then an underneath route. You're rushing 3, dropping 8. Ben doesn't settle. He's not patient, Greeny. He decides to try to force it in. You're dropping 8. There's a linebacker standing right in the middle of the lane, picks it off, takes the ball down again. The problem in Pittsburgh is what you're asking a guy who just had elbow surgery to throw it 44 times. That's the struggle. No physicality, no way they can win games doing it this way.
Marcus, what?
Yeah, Jeff, listen, this is one of those football questions that we can answer for fans. If you just go back and look at that game against the Bengals, they did not care 1 iota about the Pittsburgh Steelers running the football. Von Bell was hovering around the line of scrimmage. They got up and pressed these dudes. They was like, look, we are going to either get beat or we going to force Ben in his 2.1 seconds of getting rid of the ball to beat us, and that's what they did. Pittsburgh looks old. Jeff talked about it. The offensive line is bad. Like, they ripped off a few runs last night, which is to be expected when Cincinnati ain't worried about nothing but dink and dunk passes. And then you look at Ben, and Ben said it best. Like, you can't make mistakes. You know this team is reeling offensively. You know the deficiencies that y'all have. So 2 turnovers, the interception and obviously the center quarterback exchange, which was on him. He didn't close his bottom hand up. This is bad. This is a team that will be done the first week of the playoffs. This is a team that has offensively only one go-to. That's try to get receivers the ball early and hope they make plays after the catch. This, like, no physicality. Offensive line is not good. It's never supposed to be associated with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're seeing it all over the place. Plus, an aging quarterback that can't make up for the things that you lacking, because obviously he's a part of the problem now.
They were 11-0, now they're 11-3. For the record, if they beat the Colts this weekend, which certainly feels like anything but a guarantee, they do wrap up the division. So all is not lost, Jeff. I feel like I want to ask you, how much of what we're seeing is on the quarterback? I'm thinking back to before the season when Mike Tannenbaum said, you have to be worried about the elbow. You have to be worried about his willingness to take hits at this age and this stage of his life. You're shaking your head. It's not the quarterback?
No, listen, this is a philosophy in Pittsburgh, man. And Swagoo and I both just said it. With the lack of physicality, listen, this offensive line ranks in the bottom 5, Greeny, in pass win rate blocking and rush win rate. I mean, what are you at? So you're going to ask a 38-year-old guy who just came off elbow surgery to throw it 44 times and think you're going to get anything different? You're going to spread 5 wide, Greeny? So that, and what's Roethlisberger doesn't scare you at all running the ball. So what are you going to do? Like the philosophy of what Pittsburgh is and has been is gone. No one's afraid of them. And here's the thing. Like the Bengals that's a must win. That's a 3rd-string quarterback That's absolute garbage. I heard Louis Riddick talk about, hey, listen, throw the records out when you play a division opponent. No, don't throw the record out, bro. They're trash. We should have piped them. We did not get the job done. I mean, at the end of the day, that is a must-win game. And when you can't physically dominate your opponent, and they got that squad that they put out there, you should be embarrassed by the way you play.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I'm glad you got linemen on here today, G, and don't have them quarterbacks, because Jeff and I can tell you, like, the Pittsburgh Steelers at this time of the year, even with Big Ben, it's fine to play with a quarterback that still has some things and not everything that he's had. It's fine. But you can't tell me Ben Roethlisberger can be at his best without a run game. Like, you have to compensate these guys with that ability. What have we been screaming about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What do we scream about Drew Brees? Like, Alvin Kamara is a focal point. We've been screaming in Tampa, run the football, Royo, and obviously Leonard Fournette. It's the same thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now you ask Big Ben to come back, to Jeff's point, to come back off of an elbow surgery, and we got to push the ball down the field 40 to 50 times a game in order to win. And we won't have a running game to help you, to help aid in that by anything. Like, all my years in the league, 05 to the end of my career, the one thing we knew about the Pittsburgh Steelers, you could get ready to get your nose blooded. It was going to be that type of game. And to see them fully away from that is just mind-boggling with an aging quarterback that's coming off of elbow surgery.
Well, Graziano, let's then turn to that piece of this, because we were talking before the show this morning, you and I. There's a real urgency for the Steelers to get it done right now because of what is right around the corner. What is that?
Yeah, if you think it looks bad for the Steelers right now, wait until the offseason when they have to figure out next year's salary cap. Ben Roethlisberger, if they don't do anything at all, and he comes back, as Adam Schefter reported yesterday he wants to, he will cost $41.25 million against next year's salary cap, which is going to drop from this year, as we've discussed many times. So about 23% of the cap for Roethlisberger. Now, if you have Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson and he's costing 23% of your cap, you can figure that out. But if Roethlisberger's not playing better than he is right now, they have a problem. That problem is they're either going to have to cut elsewhere on the roster, some other big contracts for players who are playing well, because remember, they got T.J. Watt, they got other guys coming up for extensions pretty soon, or they're going to have to extend Roethlisberger to knock down next year's cap number. And off of last night's game, are you feeling like you want to extend Ben Roethlisberger a couple years into the future beyond 2021? Lots of difficult decisions for the Steelers coming this offseason, no matter how this turns out.
For sure. So really quickly, Jeff and then Marcus, I feel like I want to ask this, because they were 11-0 3 weeks ago, and I really believed the schedule had contributed to the two of those first two losses. Last night, there's just no excuse for. So I guess I would ask you, Jeff, is it turnaroundable? Can they fix this in the next 2 weeks in time for the playoffs? Can they do it? And if so, how? Jeff?
I don't think so. Listen, again, I don't think this is a Big Ben problem. This is a philosophy problem, right? You can't just turn into a physical football team. The offensive line's not doing it. The defense is decimated, especially in the middle of the defense. I don't think they can turn it around. This thing has turned. Life comes at you fast, Greeny. It's coming at them real fast the last 15 days.
I agree. And yet, Marcus, obviously, if you're on that team, you're not thinking, oh, well, we're done. What are you thinking? What is it you're thinking we need to do now?
Look, this is lock-in, galvanized. This is Big Ben's leadership. Guys listening to him and trying to go about it that way. And from a defensive standpoint, physicality and learn, like, they have to impact the game. They have to turn the football over. The defensive mentality has to change for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The offense will continue to struggle. So defensively now, they got to put it on their backs and make sure they give short fields, give turnovers, try to get hidden points in special teams. This team offensively